I left my 9 to 5 a year and a half ago for two main reasons. Before we get into those reasons, I want to tell you a little story which might paint the picture as to one of those reasons at least. It was a cold month in the middle of January. I was a full-time sort of sports coach in youth work, working with young people, and I was going all over the place, all over my borough. I was going left, right, centre. For about 8 hours a day, I was non-stop. Back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Every single time we would go into these sessions, it would be me and this other guy. Let's call him John. It would be me and John. And I remember that John didn't do anything. So we'd get to the session and we had a theme that we was going to deliver to the young people. It was maybe going to be about, I don't know, communication. Maybe it would be about confidence. Maybe it would be about this, maybe whatever it was about, right? And what we had to do for these sessions was we had to plan these sessions. We had to deliver these sessions. We had to get feedback on these sessions. We had to register these sessions, debrief these sessions. We had to do, there was so much to do around these sessions. And we had about 3 to 4 of these sessions, plus admin and all of these things in between every single day. Now, this all leads me on to the first reason. Onto the first thing that I started to think about and think, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel fair. Let me take you there. So as I said, we would go and we'd go deliver these sessions. Now, at the time, I was with John. It was me and John for the day. Now, I would plan, pretty much deliver most of it. I'd feedback most of it. I'd make sure all of the admin was done. I'd register, I'd do all of that stuff. Yeah, great, cool. And John, a lot of the time, was on his phone. John spent most of the day on his phone. I remember getting to the end of January. I was about 21 at the time. And I remember on Payday, everyone was talking about Payday. And I realized me and John got paid the exact same. Isn't that funny? This guy done nothing. And I done loads, but we got paid the exact same. Now, I don't say this to make myself sound righteous. This has happened the other way around, where I've been with someone who's carried the load for me, who's carried a little bit more, done a little bit more than me. And then at the end of the month got paid the same as me when I didn't do much. And these are just sparks to the fire that eventually made me leave. I say all of this to say, if you are somebody that is currently in a 9 to 5, if you're currently in a job that you don't want to do, you're not finding purpose in, or maybe you're in a job that you find purpose in, but you're thinking some of the similar feelings that I was feeling, this don't feel right. This seems a little bit unfair. Later in this video, I'm going to get onto the second reason. I'm going to get into the second nail in the coffin that made me leave, that made me put my resignation in, that said, no, I'm not doing this anymore. But before we get onto there, I want to take you onto here. So I hope you like this illustration. I worked really hard on it. Looks fantastic. This is John. This is me and John. Me and John are quite similar. You might be quite similar to John as well. I'm just reading off some things that didn't feel right. These are some things I would ask myself when I'm in the middle of the day and maybe I've finished off all my work and I still got to wait 5 hours. I've got nothing to do and I've got to wait 5 hours. Or maybe I haven't finished my work, but it hits 5 p.m. and I can go home. That didn't seem fair either. But anyways, I'd say in my head, I'm thinking, let me out, and I feel like I'm worth more. And the drug of the salary, I get paid at the end of the month. And these little thoughts would enter my mind. But why do I have to wait? Why'd you have to wait to the end of the month to get paid? I feel like I'm worth more. Well, am I? I want to see, like, can I give it a go? And how's that fair? Let me take you back to that time when I'm delivering these projects and I'm doing the thing and whatnot, and me and John got paid the exact same. That didn't feel fair. That didn't sit right with me. And maybe you're watching this and maybe some feelings are being sparked in you and you're thinking, yeah, I feel the same. By the end of this video, you're going to have a better understanding of how this works. I'm not coming on here to say, leave your job. That's not what I'm here to say. You might enjoy it. It might be great. But if you're somebody if you're a bit like me and you realize this ain't for me, I think I can get more out of the world. I think I can provide more value to the world. Maybe you get to 5 p.m. and you don't want to stop working. Maybe you get to 9 a.m. and you don't want to work. You want to do something else. Maybe you want to work on your own schedule. By the end of this video, you're going to understand a bit more about it. Before I get into that second reason, I want to sort of break down what a job is, what a 9 to 5 is, because it's such a normal thing that we do. I've had loads of jobs. You may be in a job. It's like everyone's got jobs, right? Now, other than a couple lawyers and doctors and some other, even them, they can have their own practice, but we'll get into that in a minute. You have to understand, what is a job? Jobs are needed. I'm not saying everyone should quit their job. What I am saying, however, is just at least understand the rules of the game that you're playing. That's all I wanted. I just wanted a fair crack at it. I just wanted to know the game I was playing. I felt like I was working really hard and it was going to be worth it and all of these things. But really, I was just helping someone else's vision. And I didn't understand the game I was playing. Now, what is this game? A job is simply a structure and a system that places you inside somebody else's vision, somebody else's mission, and somebody else's systems to operate as they want you to do. Now that sounds harsh. You are there to provide a service within a system, if that makes sense. So you have this system, say for example, I'll go back to my example. I was a delivery officer. So I used to go to schools and support young people and do this and whatnot, all that stuff. Before that, I was coming from a job that I didn't want to do into a job now I do want to do and I love doing. However, I didn't understand the game I was playing until now. What I realized is within a job, you have a value. You have a certain amount of value to give, and it will differ based on experience. It will differ based on skills. This video is about, what do you want? That's what this video is about. This is the real reason why I left my 9 to 5. Once I understood the game that I was playing, I started to realize I don't want to play this game. I want to play a different game. Now, the second reason I gave up the salary and left my 9 to 5 was because of an experience I had in a senior position. Remember that story I told you in one cold January when I was 21? Fast forward a year, I'd moved up the ranks. I'd become a manager. I'd become the boss, scratch my ego. Oh yeah, I'm head of this, I'm in charge. And I started to see things for how they actually are. You can have whatever title you like. However, if it is within the structures and confines of a job, understand that you are operating in somebody else's mission. And this is something I found out the hard way. I came into this new role. I got a team. I'm head of this and yeah, I'm the guy. Scratching my ego. I slowly started trying to place things in that I thought were going to be really beneficial for the company. Previously in my old role, I knew all the things that were difficult and I knew a lot of the ways the team were wasting their time on things that did not matter. And I tried to get rid of as many as I could, but then in jumped reality. What do I mean by that? I was quickly stopped and I quickly realized I ain't in charge. Here is the reality of a job. Here is the reality of a 9 to 5. You are always under someone, unless it is your own business. And even if it is your own business, you are dictated to by the market. So one thing I will always say, you are never in charge of anything. However, I realize how much you're in charge or how little you're in charge is up to you. As I said, I came into that role. I'm the big boss. I'm the guy. And I realized I had no autonomy. And I had to tell my team messages. I had to not let people go places. I had to tell people off. I had to do all sorts of things that I didn't really want to do. That I had to manage team members that I didn't hire and I never would have hired. This sounds harsh, but this is the reality. And once I realized this game that I was playing, that I'm turning up every single day, putting my all in for someone else's mission. If I died 2 weeks later, they'd have a vacancy out, head of sports, and boom, you're forgotten. I'm here to encourage you and to say that once you gather a certain level of experience and skill, the world is your oyster. You don't need a middleman anymore. Now and then we need some support. I have a support structure in my business. It's not just me. However, if you're entrepreneurial minded, if you're someone that wants autonomy over your life, you want decision making and all of these things, just understand the game of a 9 to 5. That's all I'm here to say. I'm not here to say, do whatever you like with this information. However, I'm just telling you the game that I realized, and it completely changed the way I view things. For me, I got rid of the title. I don't want the title no more. Now, we spend a lot of our lives chasing observable metrics, and we don't think about hidden metrics. Observable metrics is the car you drive. Observable metrics is the title you have in your job. Observable metrics is the watch you have. These are all observable metrics. Observable metrics is simply what others can see about you, but hidden metrics are far more important. Hidden metrics are your personal relationship with yourself. Hidden metrics is your health, sort of, and observable. You'll also be in good shape and people will see that. But essentially, these are all metrics, right, that people are measuring in real time. There's metrics that other people will measure you by, and then there's your metrics that you will feel internally. Now, for me, I thought, what was the point in all of this if I get to the end of the day, I'm absolutely exhausted, my family haven't seen me, my friends, I'm unable to spend quality time with my friends. I have to rush every single one of my gym sessions for someone else's mission. This isn't even my mission. I come into work with a bunch of ideas that all get shut down. For me, I got fed up and I said, Alf, I think you can do this yourself. Whatever that is for you, understand that there is a value in you. There is a purpose in you. And that purpose may be to be at a 9 to 5. However, for most of us, I doubt it. I know that most of us want more. Most of us want to provide more value to the world. Most of us don't want to stop working at 5 p.m. A lot of us, especially if you're watching this, especially if you're watching this type of video, if you're watching me, right, you're probably not someone that wants to shut off your laptop at 5 p.m. and just stare at a wall. Maybe you're someone that has ideas and visions and you want to create things that are going to drastically improve the world. And if you are, I'm with you. If you are, understand this is the game. This is the game of the 9 to 5. And this is, for me, why I left. I'm not here to say stepping into entrepreneurship is easier or any of that stuff. It is tough. And ultimately, you get paid when you make things happen. Now, If you're tired of getting just paid at the end of the month, like, as I said, you don't have to get paid at the end of the month. You can get paid today if you want, or tomorrow. You just make something happen. But something I realized in business is that when you step out your house and you see 10 people, every single one of them has a problem. Also, on top of that, every single one of them has a problem that they would pay to be alleviated. Every single one of them. We all have problems. If you can find a problem and be someone that solves it through skill and through experience, you don't have to wait till the end of the month to get paid. You can get paid whenever you like. I'll end by asking a question I wish someone asked me a long time ago. What do you want? What do you actually want? Think about that, and it will slowly start making sense. Until the next one, see you in a bit.